You're listening to the All Veterans Hour on WLIJ, engaging discussion by veterans for veterans, with your hosts Gary Leverette and Jimmy Miller. They are discussing veterans programs and issues, playing veteran-related music, and keeping American citizens informed on things they ought to know. Every second and fourth Monday on 98.7 and AM 1580, and also on WLIJradio.com. The All Veterans Hour on WLIJ is brought to you by the American Legion Post 23, the DAV Chapter 43, and the VFW Post 5019.
Welcome to the Veterans Hour. I'm your host, Jimmy Miller, with co-host Jim Short. We have two special guests with us this morning. We have Gretchen Catherwood from Dark Horse Lodge, and we have Don Goodman with Freedom Sings USA. We're looking for a good show.
Yes, we are, and it's good to be back on the mic, Jimmy. I haven't been here in a while doing this, but goodness, I love being behind the mic and saying hello to Bedford County and all the surrounding area, and get to talk to some people that are friendly with us vets. And my goodness, we've got two people here that certainly are that. They're more than friendly.
They are, and the two people you're about to meet this hour give back to the military community in a way you couldn't believe. And we're going to get into their stories. And today, all of our music, Don Goodman brought, and these are all original songs.
They were all written with veterans.
So I look forward to that music. And I guess to kick this off, I'm going to start with you. So, Gretchen, you have the Dark Horse Lodge.
We do.
And can you tell our listeners a little bit about the Dark Horse Lodge? I'm having speaking problems this morning. And just what your mission is and...
Sure. So Dark Horse Lodge came about the idea for it happened in 2011 when the 3-5 Dark Horse unit, Marine Corps unit, 3-5 Dark Horse unit came back from Afghanistan. Our son was a Dark Horse Marine, and he deployed with the group, with their unit in 2010 in September on the 26th, and less than 3 weeks later he was killed in action on October 14th. Alec was 19. He was engaged to be married. He was my only son, and he was, boy, I'll tell you, he was some sunshine in our world. But we lost 25 young Marines altogether in that deployment, and we had close to 200 severely wounded. And when the unit came back in April of 2011, actually on my birthday, on the 29th, they had a remembrance ceremony, and we stood on the helicopter pad and we listened to stories about those 25 Marines told by their friends. And we, that the wind and the dog tags just made the jingling sound on the battlefield crosses. And it was there that we met the returning Marines and Navy docs. And to look in their eyes and to see the pain that was there, and you could almost visualize what they saw, even though thank goodness nobody could. It really started something in me, and we went back, and at the time we lived in Illinois, and it just haunted me for a good long time. 2012, we moved down here to Tennessee, and my daughter and I attended the dedication of a memorial on Camp Pendleton. And in that parking lot that night, some of the boys started talking about the day that our son was killed. And I had previously had an idea, maybe we can do something to help these guys when these returning veterans. And it seemed to be a bit too much. My husband's like, listen, we came down here to Tennessee to retire eventually, not to work harder. And so then when we went to this dedication of the monument to hear the stories from these boys, and one of them said, this is the first time I've been able to talk about that day, meaning the day that Alec died and that their friend Joey died. And on the plane on the way back, I said to my daughter, listen, you know what? This is something I really feel like we need to do. We need to do something in honor of the boys who didn't come home to help those who did. And so I said to my husband again, I said, listen, we need to do something. And the idea of a retreat was born. And he said, okay, I'm in. let's do it. And so we purchased property, and we applied for our 501c3 in 2013, and it came through in 2014, and we started building, raising the money. We have 25 bedrooms. We have 5 guest cabins. Each guest cabin holds 5 bedrooms. And each one of those 25 bedrooms bears the name of one of the Marines that was killed in my son's unit on the door. We also have a 6th cabin, which is for our staff, one of whom we have employed right now, and we're looking for more. And then we have a dining hall shower house. That's our 7th building. So the lower level is the shower house, and the upper level is our dining hall. The dining facility is named Bowman Hall. And that is in memory of one of the men who was with the Patriot Guard when our son came home. His son, Tim Bowman, he was with the National Guard out of Illinois. In 2005, after he came home from Iraq, Timmy took his life on Thanksgiving Day. And so the reason for Dark Horse Lodge, the main reason, is to, number one, show our combat veterans how deeply grateful we are for their service, but also to bring combat veterans together from all different branches of service, from all different wars and conflicts, and gather around a bonfire and sit in a living room talking to people who've been where they've been, whether it's literally or figuratively. A Vietnam veteran with a Korean War veteran, with a Desert Storm veteran, and an OEF, OIF veteran, all getting together and sharing experiences and really being able to open up to people that get it. So we're just offering a 5-day stay free of charge. Give them a place to hang out with other vets and kind of take a load off a little bit, and really do our best to reduce the veteran suicide rate as best we can.
That is awesome.
Dark Horse Lodge is located where?
We are in Springville, West Tennessee, about halfway between Paris and Camden, off of 641. We have 2 pontoon boats, and we take our guests out fishing on the lake. Just enjoy some peace and quiet and nature and camaraderie with other veterans.
Okay, very good.
Nothing's ever made you feel better about yourself in your whole life, has it?
No. As a matter of fact, it's funny because people say, how do you do this? After losing your son, how do you do this? And I say, I don't. Every day I give up. Every day I give up. When I go to bed at night, besides burying our son, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. But then you wake up the next morning and you realize, listen, I don't honor Alec or the men he served with or the men that died beside him by giving up. We teach our children never give up, right? And so I think of his face, and I think, if I were to give up, I don't want to disappoint him. I can just see him going, Mom, finish what you started. You need to do what you do. And so that keeps me going. But every day I give up. I sure do, because it's difficult. It's a lot.
I would like to, one thing I've learned, we've been doing this for 10 years now, and if we just get out of the way, God's got a plan. I want you to come to our new class here in Murfreesboro.
Oh, I would love it.
On the 12th, and let's tell your story and your son's story.
Okay.
And have you ever heard of Hunter Girl?
No, sir.
Come in second on American Idol, and now she's just...
Sure. Okay.
Well, she's going to be who we'll be writing with.
Wonderful.
So, and this will be an opportunity as well for you to promote.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Don, if I remember right, the 8th was this past Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the next one will be, 2 weeks from that date?
2 weeks from that. It'll be the 2nd and 4th Thursday of every month. If there are 5 weeks, Thursdays in the month, we'll still be 2 and 4, and then the next month we'll start on 2 and 4, so it doesn't get confused.
So the one you're talking about then would be the 22nd?
For the second class, the one I'm inviting her to will be the first one in September.
I got you. Okay.
Which I believe...
9th? It's Thursday, you said. You're right. Yeah, 12th.
Yeah, so I think Thursday the 12th. Mm-hmm. And any veterans out there who would like to come and meet Hunter Girl, and we'll have, she and I will be writing a song, and it'll be awesome.
Wonderful. I would love that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's wonderful,
and it's so weird, because I've been thinking and calling people, looking for the right mom or veteran to
Isn't that something?
work with me on Hunter Girl. And
Absolutely.
there you see it.
I would be really honored. Thank you.
Got a better plan.
That's
now.
right.
Now, Gretchen, if you will, tell me a little bit about who comes to the lodge, and let's say a group of veterans or maybe a single veteran can come to your lodge. What does it cost that person?
It costs that person nothing. We do have a deposit that's refundable. And if they don't show up, then of course the deposit becomes a donation. And the only reason for that is because we do invest money in groceries for that veteran for that week.
Sure.
And so we do have to kind of recover some of that if we've already done grocery shopping. But really it costs nothing once you get your refund, your deposit back. And they come on, they get to the website, and under the How to Apply tab, they do need to submit their DD-214 just so that we in fact do know that they are a combat veteran, and they choose a date. We're pretty full for this year. Starting March of next year, we'll be taking more applications. It costs them nothing, and they come and they enjoy hanging out on the lake with other veterans, and we've had groups and we've had single people. We did have a group of 5 gentlemen back in July on the heels of a group of 13 women. So we had 13 women come, and they were a hoot. I'll tell you what, they were through the American Legion in Tennessee from all different posts, and what a riot. We had so much fun with those women. And then the following week, like I said, we had a group of 5 men, 4 of whom traveled together from Missouri. They're a group of, they have a fishing group for first responders and veterans, and they came together. But along with them, there was a single individual who came from Spring Hill. And they had a great time together. This young man didn't know the other 4 from Adam when he arrived, but they left friends. And the 4 gentlemen, 2 of whom are Vietnam veterans, one of whom is Desert Storm, another Desert Storm and Iraq veteran, they took this young man under their wing, and boy, I'll tell you what, the advice they gave him, and it was super heartwarming to see the different generations coming together, different branches, some of whom were Air Force, some were Navy, some Army. It didn't matter. They were combat vets, and they had shared experience. So it's really kind of heartwarming to see people who don't know each other, when they get there, leave as friends. So
Don's group and the group that I associate with, sometimes we have retreats. And it sounds to me like Dark Horse Lodge would be a great place to have a retreat.
Absolutely. We would love that. We would really love that. What
we do is we bring 5 veterans and 5 songwriters from Nashville. And on Saturday mornings, on Friday night, we have a meet and greet where we play some of our hits and let everybody know who we are. And the veterans get to pick who they want to work with. The next morning at 9 o'clock, we start writing. And that evening at 6 o'clock, we play 5 songs that did not exist at 9 o'clock that morning.
That's
and we've
impressive.
just picked up a sponsorship from Kleenex.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations. That's
So
wonderful.
it's about time for a song, right?
It is.
Jimmy?
Don, you want to introduce the first song?
Yeah, tell us about that.
All right. We're going to start out. You guys know Gary Leverette usually does this show here. And Gary was one of the first veterans we worked with over at Sergeant York when we first started this out in 2014. And Gary's song is called Run, Charlie, Run. And it's about his experience in Vietnam. And if you'd like to play it, let's listen to it.
John or Brant or Lane. rise today. 21 machine guns, somebody's gotta pay. Why, oh, why do good men have to die? And why did I survive? Run, Charlie, run. The first cab is on the way. Run, Charlie, run. You're gonna have a bad day. 'Cause when the 50s are talking, the 60s are smoking, somebody's gotta pay. Hey! Oh, somebody's gotta pay. Run, Charlie, run. The first cab is on the way. Run, Charlie, run. You're gonna have a bad day. You're gonna have a bad day. Run, Charlie, run. Yeah, run, Charlie, run. Somebody's gotta pay. Somebody's gotta pay.
You're listening to the All Veterans Hour on WLIJ, engaging discussion by veterans for veterans, with your hosts Gary Leverette and Jimmy Miller. They are discussing veterans programs and issues, playing veteran-related music, and keeping American citizens informed on things they ought to know. Every second and fourth Monday on 98.7 and AM 1580, and also on WLIJradio.com. The All Veterans Hour on WLIJ is brought to you by the American Legion Post 23, the DAV Chapter 43, and the VFW Post 5019.
Welcome back. We've had some interesting conversations. I wish you could hear what goes on in between songs, but I have two remarkable guests here, and this could stretch all day if we let it. But before we get back to our guests, I have to go over the meeting times for our organizations. The meeting times this next month for the VFW is the first Monday of the month at 6 p.m. Auxiliary and spouses are welcome. It's located at 1320 East Depot Street. On the second Saturday, the VFW has their breakfast from 0700 to 0930. Adults are $10. Kids 6 to 12 are $4, and kids under 6 are free. And also at the VFW, on the third Saturday, they have live music and a potluck. The cover charge is $3, and they just ask that you bring a dish. American Legion Post 23. We meet the first Tuesday of the month at 6 o'clock. Meal and meat is provided by Rowdy Ranch. For the meeting, all we ask is everyone bring a dish. We are located at 1357 Highway 130 East, and as always, spouses are welcome. And our DAV, Chapter 43, meeting time is second Tuesday of the month at 6 o'clock, also located at 1357 Highway 130 East. And also a meal is provided by Rowdy Ranch. All we ask is everybody bring a side dish. And as always, spouses are welcome at all these meetings. And remember that all these organizations are the backbone of the veterans in Bedford County. But if at any point in time you're in crisis, you can't come to a meeting, you can't reach anybody, remember the suicide hotline is 988. This hotline is not just for military veterans. If you're a spouse or you're a caregiver and you have a veteran that needs help, you call this number and the person on the other end will give you guidance too. So just remember that. I will always repeat that number until our number of suicides go down to 0. But now let's get back to
too many suicides. Even if there's one per day, that's one too many. But the number is way too high. And let me say this about veterans in Bedford County. We have almost 4,000 veterans in Bedford County, and we need every one of those to get involved. We're always looking for new people. All three of these organizations need additional people to come in and be a part of the group. And Jimmy, you were talking about the meals that we have. They're absolutely fantastic. Rowdy Ranch is doing a great job. And if you leave our meetings hungry, it's your fault. We really have some good food there, and plenty of it.
And what did we have this last time? Was it pork loin?
Pork loin, yes.
Corn, mashed potatoes, deviled eggs, 2 different dessert cakes.
Always great food.
And for all of our listeners, I know that I've already posted Don Goodman, the lessons in Murfreesboro, on the Bedford County, Tennessee Veterans website. I will post how to get a hold of, let's see, yeah, it's on here. I will post the website for the Dark Horse Lodge so that if you have any questions, you'll be able to contact them. But that will be on the website. Before we move on, do you have anything else that you want to tell people about the lodge?
Well, we are really looking forward to hosting more and more guests as time goes on. We had our grand opening last year in September, and we've had multiple groups so far this year. We'll pick up as time goes on. Next year we plan to have even more. We are looking for a live-in cook to run our kitchen. So if y'all know of anybody who's looking for a place to stay and also is a great cook, boy, we sure would love to have them. Give us a call. It's room and board and a salary to go along with it. So that person is pretty crucial because these guests come hungry, I'll tell you. We have a boat captain. We're looking for another boat captain starting next spring, too. And the boat captain does, in fact, need to be a combat veteran. And the reason for that is because whenever our guests are out on the lake, whoever is on that boat will be able to understand at least some of what they're going through and some of what they're talking about. If you're not a combat veteran, I know from experience, being the daughter of one and the wife of one, and these veterans aren't going to talk to just anybody about their experience in combat. And so that's why we're looking for a boat captain who is a combat veteran. We have a 20-year Air Force veteran who is our one of our boat captains now. But we do have 2 brand new pontoon boats. So we're going to need another boat captain starting next year, excuse me, and somebody to run the kitchen. Excuse me. So.
Well, I appreciate that. And as a veteran, what you do is tremendous. I mean, you might not always hear thank you. You might not even see the people that you helped doing this, but I promise you, somebody out there needs your lodge and needs to get their story out.
We all have stories.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be told. And I appreciate what Gretchen is doing to honor her son, Alec. And it needs to be that, and there needs to be a lot more of it.
It does. And I guess with that being said, Don, you want to tell us a little bit about Murfreesboro and what all you're doing?
Well, we started Freedom Sings USA about 8 years ago. 10 years total. We've been writing songs with veterans. We've written hundreds of them now with not just veterans, but their family members, Gold Star parents. One song, I'll never forget it, with the lady who her job was to go to the door and knock on the door and tell the families that as her song was called, I Say the Words No One Wants to Hear. Mm-hmm. And seeing you here this morning just made me think of that. It's just amazing what we do, and just like you said, Jim, is first thing that comes out of the veteran's mouth just about every time is, I don't have a story. I really don't have a story. And by the time it's over, they're crying, we're crying. Their family calls and goes, I can't believe how he's changed since getting that out of his heart and off his mind. And it's just the music therapy works. The music just frees them up. When we're playing those guitars, all of a sudden they're not just bragging on themselves or telling a story. Man, they want the whole world to know. And it's just awesome. We wrote 3 songs in 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then yesterday we drove back from Shiloh, Illinois. And I was driving home, and it just, in my head and my heart, I felt like, all right. Now you know why you were given a little talent. It's okay to have those gold and platinum records on the wall. That's great, and that's proof that you accomplished something. But when you get a phone call in the middle of the night saying, man, you just saved my life again. I played that song. I didn't pull that trigger. When a guy says something like, on a cold hardwood floor, alone in the night, with Jack Daniels in my left hand and Smith & Wesson in my right, whiskey on my breath, and give up on my mind. That's why there's 22 suicides a day in this country.
It is, and a lot of people don't understand the things veterans or any military is asked to do. They're not normal for a human.
No.
We do them and we enjoy doing them and wouldn't take anything for our time, but your normal mind is not set to be able to handle those things. You think you are at the time, but then when you get back, all those little compartments you built in your brain all of a sudden start collapsing, and it all weighs on you, and then sometimes that weight gets a little too much.
Moral wounds are hard to deal with.
They are.
Yeah.
About time for our second song, isn't it?
It is. What we got next, Don?
All right. We're going to talk about Katie Lunning, Major Katie Lunning. She was a nurse in the Air Force, and she was in Afghanistan when we evacuated Afghanistan. And her song is called From the Battlefield to the Bedside. And we have this year finished our second volume of 10 songs with nurses. And this album was nurses that served in combat and then came home and became nurses at the VA, both male and female. Katie, she, when the young Marines were blown up in the airport, Katie walked with a mobile stretcher through the Taliban, spit at, cussed at, got those young Marines, brought them back through the Taliban to the hospital ship that she flew in on. And after getting the first one back and cleaning the spittle off of herself, she went back for another. Katie was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, which is the Air Force's one step down from the Medal of Honor. And I called Linda Davis, and God, what a heart that lady has. And I told her about Katie and asked Linda if she would sing her song, and she says, what time do you want me there? So this is Linda Davis singing From the Battlefield to the Bedside.
That flag hanging behind me, I had with me on the flight. It was with me in Afghanistan. It's with me here tonight. From a Minnesota river town to the Middle East, my grandma and my aunt were nursing just like me. Because of 9/11, I joined the Guard. My daddy went to Vietnam. I wound up in Qatar. From the battlefield to the bedside is a story of my life. An airman in combat, a mother and a wife. 2,000 miles away from home to this VA ward tonight. From the battlefield to the bedside, keeping the troops alive. Our plane was under fire when we tried to land. was surrounded by the Taliban. Thinking of my family helped me recognize the hunger for humanity in the Afghan eyes. A bomb at the airport, blood, smoke, and screams. My team and I fought day and night, trying to save those young Marines. From the battlefield to the bedside is the story of my life. An airman in combat, a mother and a wife. 2,000 miles away from home to this VA ward tonight. From the battlefield to the bedside, keeping the troops alive. Well, I came home to my family, the VA and haunted dreams. They awarded me the DLC, but the hero was my team. From the battlefield to the bedside is the story of my life. Been an airman in combat, a mother and a wife. 2,000 miles away from home to this VA ward tonight. From the battlefield to the bedside. Oh, from the battlefield to the bedside, keeping the troops alive. Keeping the troops alive. It's a story of my life. It's my life.
You're listening to the All Veterans Hour on WLIJ, engaging discussion by veterans for veterans, with your hosts Gary Leverette and Jimmy Miller. They are discussing veterans programs and issues, playing veteran-related music, and keeping American citizens informed on things they ought to know. Every second and fourth Monday on 98.7 and AM 1580, and also on WLIJradio.com. The All Veterans Hour on WLIJ is brought to you by the American Legion Post 23, the DAV Chapter 43, and the VFW Post 5019.
I have a few more housekeeping things to go over. For Bedford County, we have a great VSO if you need help with qualifying for benefits or increasing your benefits. If you do, I ask you to give our VSO, Ben Ely, a call. His number is 685-4838. He is a very busy individual, so be sure to make an appointment. He usually doesn't have time for walk-ins. And he is located at the courthouse square in the very bottom. There's a ramp going down, so there's no need for steps. And I also want to give a shout out to Bill Tucker. Bill Tucker is our driver who drives you. He will pick you up at your house and drive you to your medical appointments. If you need this service, his number is 931-619-7178. These people are really the backbone for the veterans here in the county, so I ask, give them a call if you need something. And speaking of the county, next month on September 7th, we have the 3rd annual Health Fair and Hot Rods. This is put on. There's going to be the blood donor truck's going to be there to take blood. This is put on by Compassus. Well, there's too many people for me to say, but one of the people is Wreaths Across America. And right after this, at 1 o'clock, Wreaths Across America asks anybody who wants to participate, we're going to be doing the Field of Flags. The Field of Flags is 2,977 flags. And that's in honor of all the people that died in 9/11. So if you've got the time, you want to come out, it's a beautiful thing to see. It's right near the bridge on the bank, but we would like help for that. And that's it on events coming up. So now let's get back to our special guests because they have a lot of good stuff.
Before you leave that, Jimmy, let me ask you a question about Bill's phone number. I had it down a little bit different. I've got 931-607-71780. Has he changed his number?
Well, I do not know because this is the phone number that was given me.
All right. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, go ahead with what you had.
We'll blame Gary. But, yeah, so we'll get back to you. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
Well, what we really, really want our combat veterans and all veterans, service and combat veterans, to know is that there are so many people in America that really care. Many veterans say that they feel like people don't care, but let me tell you, from the moment we got our 501c3 in 2014 to our grand opening last year and up till today, we have donations of $3. We have donations of $20. We don't have millionaires dropping hundreds of thousands of dollars at a time. We've got people offering $5 and $10 and $15, and these people have come together to build Dark Horse Lodge because so very many people care about our nation's veterans. And truly, when a veteran comes up to me and my husband and says, "Thank you so much for what you're doing," our first and only response to them is, we couldn't do what we're doing because we wouldn't be here to do what we're doing had you not done what you did. So truly and honestly, the only reason we're able to do this is because all of our nation's veterans have done what they have done to make it possible for us to even be here. We wouldn't be sitting in this room were it not for our veterans. And so we are deeply, deeply grateful. In honor of those who didn't come home, we truly mean to help those who did forever. So thank you from the bottoms of our heart, and please don't hesitate to make a reservation. If you're a single person who wants to come hang out with other veterans, it's nothing scary at all. Nothing scary at all. You'll leave with friends you never had before, and it's pretty exciting. So give us a call if you have any questions. Please feel free to come out and see us. Our phone number is on our website at 731-363-3616. We live right nearby. We will come day, night, weekend, holiday, doesn't matter. There will be somebody there to show you around, even if you just want to come visit and see what it is that we're about. We love to show the lodge to different people. So give us a call or check out our website at darkhorselodge.org. But we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Thank you.
Good that you're here. Enjoyed your visit with us, and hope you come back sometime.
Thank you.
And now Don, which I've met you before. Now, if you never met Don, he's a highly awarded songwriter, but one of the most humble songwriters I've ever met in my life.
Well, you know, just a dumb hillbilly songwriter, you know, it ain't no big deal. The best thing I've ever done is my work with the veterans. You know, it's great to have some, you know, awards hanging on your wall, but a phone call in the middle of the night saying, "Hoss, you saved my life," they just can't compare.
How many songs have you written, out of curiosity?
Commercial songs, I'm living proof that if you write 2,000 or 3,000 songs, you'll get a handful right. Veterans, we've written close to 500.
Wow. So, and I'm not a singer by any means. There's a couple people listening to the radio show right now that wished I would sing, but I like Chase and I like the radio show, so I'm not going to do that. I don't want it to shut down. But your next class in Murfreesboro, I plan on attending. So,
please.
As a veteran who can't sing, never written a song, I'm trying to learn to play the guitar, but I'm having a mind-body barrier where I'm so used to everything being regimented, I can't loosen up to feel the music. So, when I come there, what can I expect? I mean,
well, you'll be a room full of veterans. Freedom Sing's mantra is veterans healing veterans through a song. And all the veterans around that table, when we're writing a song, if the guy says, well, you know, I was here and I did this or I did that, and some veterans sure to say, been there, done that, brother. I got you back. I was right there with you. And that's how it works, you know. I'll tell you a quick story. I told you earlier, I was writing with a veteran who's severe PTSD, and talking about waking up screaming in the night back in the war. And I said, what does your wife say or do when you wake up screaming like that? He says, well, she's out in the hall. Why don't you ask her? So I went up and got her, and I brought her in. And I asked her, I said, you know, when he has these nightmares and he's back in the war, what do you say? What do you do? She says, I'm scared to death. I don't know what to say or do, but thank you for asking. I've been waiting 50 years to say that. Powerful.
Yes.
That is.
I know who you're talking about, Don, but I won't say his name. But I'm a buddy of his. See him a couple of times a month. Great guy.
We'll just call him Padre.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was a sky pilot. Chaplain.
Still kicking?
Yep.
Thanks to you.
His song was called Missing in America. And it's like when you come home and you're not home. Let's move on. And
about time for another song anyway, Don.
Yeah, that's... I don't want everybody out there crying in their coffee, so...
No, sometimes it helps to heal, to talk.
Yeah, so maybe we'll just... the next song, Doug Long, whose song I'm going to play to close the show, called us, and he says, my cousin, my best friend, just took his life. We talked about 22 suicides a day. And he says, the funeral's coming up, and he says, I would love to have a song for them to play at the funeral. So we wrote A Folded Flag and 21 Guns, and that was Private Stanton Shipley. He came home, had a beautiful family, you know, all his kids, everybody loved him. But he just couldn't get the demons. He just couldn't get rid of the demons. And that's what we try to do. There are 22, and the VA says that's a light number, that it's actually more than that a day that take their lives. I think that's a line that isn't in this song, but a line that I think it describes it totally. Is on a cold hardwood floor, alone in the night, with Jack Daniels in my left hand and Smith & Wesson in my right, whiskey on my breath, and give up on my mind. And then they pull the trigger. So this song goes out to the family of Stanton Shipley, and his cousin, Doug Long.
We were G.I. Joes and superheroes, wearing cut-off tees and camo pants, building forts and shooting BB guns, best of friends when we were young, a world away from Little Rock, parachuting off the end of the dock. He was more than a cousin, he was my brother. He turned 18 right before Desert Storm. Boyhood dreams made him raise his right hand. He went to war in the land of the sand. Overnight he became a man, fighting for freedom, fighting for peace, a Gulf War soldier of Company C. Everybody dies inside. They come home with invisible scars, morally wounded with a broken heart. You know his pain and you can't believe all he ever wanted to be was that superhero when he was 9, and hold his family one more time. Every veteran suffers from the guilt within. He was all of us, and we are here. One more hero the world couldn't see, one more victim of PTSD, an American son whose legacy has become a folded flag and 21 guns. He is gone, gone the sun from the lakes, from the hills, from the sky. All is well, safely rest. God is nigh.
All right, it's open. Go ahead, Don.
All right. This class in Murfreesboro, all of you veterans out there, you're more than welcome. It's an open door policy. It's at the Oval Vet Center in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And I, doggone it, don't have the address.
I've got it. It's 439 Rice Street in Murfreesboro. It's a TriStar Veterans Resource Center.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jim.
You betcha.
Last week, we had just a whole bunch of people there, and we had a young Marine in there who liked hard rock and roll, and I brought in 2 of the best guitar players I know in Nashville, and we rocked that night. It was, but the first question we ever ask any veteran who wants to tell their story is, what kind of music do you like? And that's where we go. And with this new class, I'm going to have a different writer there every class. And boy, you want to come, you're going to hear Gary Gentry do the ride by David Allan Coe. You might hear Sonny Throckmorton singing, I wish I was on some old blue bayou. And Hunter Girl's coming on the, I think, was it the 12th?
Yes.
Yeah, the 12th of September. Yeah, and she was writing with us when she was 18 years old, and someone said, you sure she's old enough to do this? And I said, she was born old enough to do this. That little girl's got an old soul. But if you want to come to that class, come on, just come through the door and walk on in and introduce yourself. And if you're ready to tell your story, we'll book a ride with you in the very near future. The last song I'm going to play was that last song I told you, one of the veterans called us and asked to write that song for his cousin. Well, this is the veteran who made that request. It's Captain Doug Long. And he was in peaceful missions, in Iraq and Desert Storm. And they put in roads, they put in phone lines, they were there helping the people, and then they were blown up. And the Humvee they were in was devastated. If you saw a picture of it, you'd wonder how on earth anyone could have lived out of it. But Doug has had and continues to have multiple surgeries that keep him functioning and moving. And that's what you got to remember. These people serve, these veterans, these courageous American heroes, they serve. And they don't get out and just come home. They come home and hurt and continue to have surgeries, or they don't make it home. You know, I think a song we wrote with a Vietnam vet, I want to throw this line in there. We wrote it this weekend with, and the line was, when my war was over, God didn't leave me on my own. Coming home was harder than going into combat. Because remember what the Vietnam vets faced when they came home. They needed God more than ever. That song was called Christ in Combat. But let me go back to Doug Long. I just wanted to make sure that was said today. Doug was listening this morning, so Captain Long, this song is for you, sir. It's called 6 Lives Forever Changed.
We were G.I. Joes. Fall 2009, sun's coming up. It's a new day, a new mission to run. The air was cool across my face as I stood and gave my brief on our way to Ramah, talking to the elders about to leave. Rolling through the town square, jingle trucks everywhere, buying, selling as we drove by. We weren't there to impart fear, but to restore hope and peace.